Hello again from Fired Up. I'm your host for the show, Bob Irwin, broadcasting from Rigel Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. This show is about guns, related politics, and self-defense. Fired Up is on my website, Fired Up with Bob Irwin, as well as the American Guns and Glory Network, YouTube, and numerous other media. If your local market local market provider doesn't carry Fired Up, ask them to do that. We'll walk them through it. A new show is posted every Thursday around 5 p.m. Pacific time, and our audio is rebroadcast for radio listeners on Saturdays at noon on the Nevada Talk Network. You can check out KELY1230.com for the station in your area of Nevada. If you have questions or comments, send an email to me at bob@firedupmail.com or leave a message on my office recorder. That is 702-257-1060. That's 702-257-1060. If you want to know if I own any property that's for sale, don't call me. I don't own a house in Las Vegas or anywhere in the world. If you would like a call back, please leave your number or an email address, and I will shoot you one back. There are several hundred defensive uses of firearms each week in the United States, rarely truthfully or fully covered by news media. I always select a few for my listeners' information. Most are good shootings, some not so good, but all are educational for those of you that keep a firearm at home for home defense, or carry one out in public, in your vehicle, on your person. Individual incidents are generally adjudicated under local law. So the advice given here may not apply in the area where you live. Advice from a local gun-savvy defense attorney is always recommended. And please understand that stories are paraphrased for clarity by translation from police jargon, what I call lawyer speak, and regional accents into American English. The incidents are as reported, with the names of the participants deleted. The names of the cops, the lawyers, and the media are generally used. Please take a look at our disclaimer at the end of the show to better understand how I put these shows together. Okay, first up, this is from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Journalist Gary Martin reports that President Joe Biden announced Wednesday he will crack down on rising crime rates and gun trafficking as law enforcement officials brace for what could be another violent summer. Biden and Attorney General Merrick Garland used a White House setting to unveil plans to step up enforcement of current gun laws by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and to target gun trafficking across state lines and sales to those who fail background checks. The president's push for increased enforcement was a message gun sellers who provide guns to those prohibited from possessing weapons. We'll make sure you can't sell death and mayhem on our streets. How's that? Attorney General Garland said the Justice Department and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives would crack down on gun dealers who produce and traffic in illegal guns. Those who provide weapons to felons are two people without running background checks. Attorney General Garland added, "We will hold gun dealers that break the rules accountable for their actions." Comments here. It's, of course, already illegal for licensed firearm dealers to transfer firearms and most parts kits without a federal, state, or local city, county, or township background check being completed. Here in Nevada, we have some changes in the law too. They're now being mandated, casinos are now being mandated to call 911 and have our county sheriff interview each person carrying openly or concealed. Signage must be posted on every entrance or exit. There is a question as to the printing of a gun. You know, that is seeing the shape of the firearm through your clothing. CCW holders and open carry advocates have issues with both of these solutions. Testimony at local hearings on these proposals were severely limited. People that got up and tried to talk were simply told, well, we've already heard from that. Unless you're going to add something completely new, your time is used, you can't talk. That made for a pretty interesting hearing, but nobody from the pro-gun side really was allowed to say. And now a word about my latest book, Self-Defense with Firearms and Use of Force in Nevada. It's available on Amazon Kindle for less than $5. I'll be right back after you see my little book commercial. Don't go away. My latest book, Self-Defense with Firearms, Use of Force in Nevada, is now available on Amazon Kindle for $4.95. You can download it now. It contains examples of dozens of shootings and pointing a firearm cases that I personally experienced in my 24 years in law enforcement, or where I testified in court or deposition as a firearm and use of force expert. The book is about the use of firearms in defense of yourself and others in my home state of Nevada. I have appeared as an expert witness in Nevada courts dozens of times, and that experience has shown me the necessity of putting pen to paper once again. Nevada state law as printed can be misleading to those of you who read it, as it is written in legal jargon, what I usually call lawyer speak. These statutes are also bent or even broken by the courts in their everyday decisions that we generally call case law. Those are rulings that say this or that statute does not apply in a particular incident and similar cases. That causes the law you are depending on when you make a decision to use your firearm only partially or not apply at all to your actions. Relevant Nevada statute numbers are included here and there, so readers may look up current wording on the Nevada State website. Teaching firearms in 28 law enforcement academies, including cadets from 26 different Nevada agencies, personally instructing over 30,000 concealed firearm permit students and 20,000 private security officers, I've discovered a lot of commonalities in deadly force incidents. Less than 100 pages, this book offers advice that can save lives and costs of expensive defense lawyers to reduce your losses in the inevitable civil lawsuits that follow these incidents. Get a copy, learn how to avoid, prepare for, and react to life-threatening situations. And this is the actual book. It looks fatter on the picture of it there on the monitor, but it's just at 100 pages and will provide you with a lot of information. As I said, it's $5 on Amazon Kindle, and you can, this could really save you a lot of problems. Buy it. Don't wait till you shoot an intruder to read it. Read it now so you know what you're going to do in advance and how to react to the attorneys and the investigators and so forth and so on. Okay, do that. Now, this third story here is from Denver 7. It's station KMGH-TV VHF Digital Channel 7. A journalist named Addie Guajardo. I'm not going to say that again, Addie. This is an ABC-affiliated station licensed in Denver, Colorado. Reports June 23rd, 2021, a local 40-year-old resident was working at the Aveda Army-Navy surplus store on Monday afternoon when a subject walked into the business. The subject was inside for just a few moments when they heard gunshots outside and saw the gunman in the plaza, it's the shopping center area. The local worker swiftly pulled his gun from his holster and jumped into action. The local resident did not hesitate. He didn't stand there and think about it. He totally heard the gunfire and went to the door, saw the shooter, and immediately ran in that direction. The manager at a business nearby, who asked not to be identified, said he was outside when he heard the 40-year-old urge people to get to safety. He turned back and looked towards everybody at the restaurant and told us that the gunman was coming and that he is coming back and that we should get inside, according to this manager. He said, I ran back into the store, closer to the alley, and kind of necked myself into a corner so he'd just feel safe. You know what that is, you're trying to get your whole body behind a piece of cover that isn't big enough. The witness said he heard 6 shots from a gun, maybe 5. The gunman fell against a parked vehicle. Nevada Police Chief Link Strait, said the 40-year-old is a true hero and likely disrupted what could have been a larger loss of life. Comments here. Sometimes an armed citizen is just somewhere at the right moment to defend others from injury or death. This true hero reacted to what he saw and saved countless lives. A true tragedy that he lost his life. Terrible story. Fourth story here comes from WHIO-TV, reported June 21, on the 21st of the year, June 21, 2021. In Clark County, Colorado, a shooting was reported at the Papa John's Pizza location on North Main Street in New Carlisle around 11 in the evening on Sunday. Major Chris Clark of the Clark County Sheriff's Office said the two attempted to rob the restaurant around closing, and one of the robbery suspects was shot by a person at the scene. A 21-year-old victim was identified as the person killed. According to the Clark County Coroner's Office, note this is Clark County in Colorado, not Clark County, Nevada. A 911 caller stated, they came running in with weapons and tried to rob us. One is shot and wounded on the floor. One of them ran out. They had weapons. The one had a big crowbar and the other one looked like a knife, and they were sprinting toward us. Sheriff's investigators have not said who fired the fatal shots, but one man could be heard in the background of the 911 call saying that he was a CCW permit holder. Officials have not confirmed that. The Ohio State Highway Patrol was called to assist the crews on the scene. Newcastle and Bethel Township medical units were called to the scene. No one has been charged in this case, according to the Clark County Sheriff's Office. His cause of death and hometown were not released. One of the suspected robbers was able to get away and remains on the run, according to Attorney Clark, or spokesman Clark. Once in a blue moon, a lawsuit lawyer may find an out-of-state connection and then try to move the case to another jurisdiction. Perhaps a claim that the shooter illegally brought the gun in another state or was a prohibited person for some obscure reason. As usual, retaining a gun-savvy criminal attorney is advisable. It is also possible for the robber to try to move the case into federal court. They can try to do that under federal law, that they can try and indict you in a federal court. It's always, 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 always have an attorney on board, a gun-savvy attorney. All right. Story number 5, ChicagoCBSLocal.com reports June 19, 2021, a shootout over snacks in a West Eaglewood gas station sent one of the men to the hospital in the early hours of Saturday morning. Chicago police say around midnight, a 40-year-old man went into the Clark station in the 6100 block of South Ashland Avenue and began eating things without paying. That's their method now. You've all seen that. When the 58-year-old security guard on duty told him to pay, the man pulled out a gun instead. The security guard then drew his own gun and fired, hitting the man in the abdomen. The 40-year-old perp was taken to University of Chicago Medical Center in critical condition, and also they're taken into police custody. No one else was injured. Comments here typical of our new left shoplifting crimes. There is no draught in the munching thief was in the belief, there is no doubt that the, wow, that's really misspelled. No doubt the munching thief was in belief that he was entitled to free food as part of his reparations for the systematic racist past of his forefathers. With a constant barrage of white privilege and fake data that whites are killing now hundreds of minorities, particularly black individuals, it is understandable that the street thugs of all colors want to get in on their free food through self-collected reparations. We're going to delve in a little bit of it. The left side media just pounds this to death. Mr. Biden, as we mentioned earlier, pounded it to death. And they're telling these Antifa types that they have a right to all this free stuff. Not true. Where they've defunded the police, the stats are horrible. We're going to break now for a commercial, a second of our 2 commercials, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Freestyle Martial Arts, located at Jones and Russell here in Las Vegas. You can reach them at 702-551-9009. That's 702-551-9009. CCS Gunsmithing. Chris Eifelt, the man who does all the NRA help, he's at 2216 South Rainbow Boulevard near Sahara. He can be reached at 702-365-1732. Once again, 702-365-1732. Jerry Creed, a trust attorney. If you have a firearms trust or need one, this is your guy. You can reach Jerry at 702-806-7777. That is 702-806-7777. CCW Maggie is found all over the internet. You can reach her by phone at 702-375-5900. That's 702-375-5900. All sorts of firearms training, ladies-only classes. She is the best of the best. Call CCW Maggie.
Story number 6. This is from 5 on Your Side. A journalist named Kayla Wheeler reported June 17, 2021, in Richmond Heights, Missouri, a remodeling contractor. We lost some of the story here, but I remember this pretty well, so we're just going to go through it. A remodeling contractor was in a building at dark 30 type hours. As I recall, I think I've got that lower in the comments. Anyway, he's a remodeling contractor. They were ripping out walls and things and redoing all of the all of the walls and things, major remodeling, more tables, all sorts of things for this business. When two guys come charging in with a knife and a crowbar, it is clearly a time when a reasonable person would react to that and do something about it. Certainly, the comments on it are certainly any intruder running into a business with a crowbar or a drawn knife is a reasonable target in most jurisdictions. That is other than New York City or anywhere on the left coast. Despite the fact that no criminal charges are forthcoming, I expect the lawsuit lawyers are gearing up to file civil wrongful death actions. Once again, get a local criminal defense attorney involved as soon as possible and have them speak for you on all matters that have anything to do with the incident. So even if you're totally right, you can get sued. So stay on the lawsuit stuff and don't let yourself get burned. Commercial here is one of two. I think we're backwards. We did one already or did two already. But anyway, there's a short break for commercial. I'll be right back.
Attorney Donald J. Green, a common guest of mine on Fired Up. He can be reached at 702-409-8239. He specializes in gun case litigation. He is your man. Don Green, 702-409-8239. And Battlefield Vegas, my new kind of home for this show. They're on Circus Circus Drive, directly behind the Circus Circus Hotel and Casino. You can find them there with CCW classes and an amazing place for gun rentals, everything you could possibly imagine. Check out, if you're in town as a tourist, check out battlefieldvegas.com.
Story number 7, KRGV-TV5 reports June 18 this year, 2021, in Pharr, Texas. That's spelled P-H-A-R-R. In Pharr, Texas, officers with the Pharr Police Department arrived in the 700 block of Freda Street Friday evening after two suspects entered a home by force. The suspect is dead after multiple shots were fired inside a home in what the Pharr Police Department called a possible home invasion robbery. According to the news release from the Pharr Police Department, multiple shots were fired inside the residence, resulting in the death of one of the suspects, a male in his 20s. A second suspect exited and fled the scene in an unknown type vehicle, possibly gray in color. That'll be hard to find. The release stated that one of the residents of the home was also struck by gunfire with non-life-threatening injuries. The Pharr Police Department said several people were being interviewed by the department and did not provide any additional details. The department didn't provide any additional details. Comments here, another Texas case wherein pro-self-defense laws and case law are clearly on the side of the resident. In Texas, a person may use deadly force to pursue a suspect in order to recover property or make a citizen's arrest. It would be extremely rare to see an effective criminal case or civil lawsuit come forth over this. This would be an unnumbered story. Which, let me look at it here, what we're doing. Okay. A person working at Maggio's Little Italy shot a man who forced his way into the restaurant Thursday morning. Around 3:40 in the early morning, Richmond Heights police responded to a Maggio's, Little Italy, at 22 the Boulevard, St. Louis, after a report of a shooting. Police reports indicate remodeling contractors were working inside the restaurant when a man forced his way into the front entrance and confronted them. One of the contractors, who was armed with a handgun, shot the intruder in his lower body after the suspect charged him. The suspect was taken to a hospital where he underwent surgery. Police say he is expected to survive. No other information about the shooting has been released. This is a developing story and will be updated as they confirm more details. The most common crime today is organized shoplifting by the left side perps, with our left side media explaining to their disciples that they have every right to take whatever they desire by such groups as Antifa and the Biden-Harris-Schumer administration. It is certainly giving encouragement for minorities to start their own self-reparation programs. This is going to go on for some time, I'm afraid, and we will see more and more and more of this. I'll be back next Thursday on my website, firedupwithboberwin.com, the American Guns and Glory Network, and numerous other websites, televisions, and radio stations. When watching any media, please click on subscribe so new shows can be sent to your phone or computer automatically each week. Check out my recent shows at firedupwithboberwin.com. It contains several dozen episodes. My logo merchandise, mostly hats now and shirts, are available at Battlefield Vegas, just behind Circus Circus on the Las Vegas Strip. If you are ever in Las Vegas, Battlefield Vegas is a must-see attraction. You can shoot a minigun or any of hundreds of firearms and even crush a car with an Abrams tank at their associated outdoor facilities. Transportation is provided. Contact info@lasvegas.com. Our disclaimer is coming up now. Thank you for watching Fired Up with Bob Irwin. I hope it saves you from making a mistake in a firearms incident. Have a great week.